I'll start off with that actually because it is the more timely news. SMU UCF is moved to Sunday because of hurricane concerns out at UCF. Of course, Hurricane Ian is out there and is expected to make landfall this weekend. I just
now.
Say now, right now. Okay, like I said, that's being in Texas, we don't have to worry about that unless it hits the Gulf. So, that's something I haven't exactly paid the closest attention to. But fortunately for UCF and SMU, their people do pay attention to that. So they have moved it to 1 p.m. on Sunday from 2:30 on Saturday. So, and also some behind the scenes there, our recap will be up Sunday regular time. And be sure to look at the website for Craven's recap. He'll give his thoughts on the game. Trust us, we know that Sunday is NFL time. We're not going to hold a podcast till 5, 6 o'clock when you're already having, fully consumed an NFL Sunday and waiting for Sunday night. We're just going to, we'll talk about the game probably next Wednesday a little bit if we want to. But it's also a chance for you to go check Craven's written thoughts on it. So we'll have a regular podcast recapping the rest of the games up Sunday. Some more unfortunate news. 2 guys pretty key to their teams now out for the year. We'll start with one for Texas A&M. Anais Smith. This one looked bad in the moment, and it turns out he is actually out for the year now. So A&M loses their most reliable target, at least on the outside, or I guess on the inside for slot receiving. Yeah, Craven. A&M's offense seemed like a 2-person show, and now one of them's out. So what happens to the Aggie offense now?
Can they make the whole plan out of Devon Achane? That's basically their only goal right now. It's tough. They were already struggling passing the ball. They've really struggled to pass the ball outside. Everything's kind of been to slot receivers, tight ends, running backs out of the backfield. You take away Anais Smith, now that puts a lot more pressure on the young wide receivers there, like Evan Stewart, Chris Marshall, to really step up and become number one guys. Mm-hmm. I do feel like it's going to be Devon Achane against the world for Texas A&M. They're only averaging 53 plays a game. They're only been in the red zone 6 times in 4 games. They've already been struggling on the offense with Anais Smith. You take away their best weapon, and it figures to be even harder.
Yep, another guy out for the year. And unfortunately, it's another heavy hitter, too. Like, injuries are never great, but it's also more significant when he's the leading tackler and one of your best defenders. Derek Parrish for Houston, out for the year as well. Houston already struggling this year. He was a first-year team captain this year, and man, he had 5 sacks, 8.5 tackles for loss, and I believe he got injured in the second quarter against Rice. I mean, Craven, this is a team that needs to find consistency, and he's somebody who you would have looked to give you that and to maybe elevate his game a little bit to help everybody else on the defense that's been struggling to really balance out. I mean, what's his loss mean? Because now Houston's, again, their defense has not been what we expected this year.
I think it's a huge loss for this team. Houston goes as that defense goes. We talk about Clayton Tune a lot, Nathaniel Dell a lot, but even last year, that defense was responsible in a lot of ways for that 11-game winning streak to close out the regular season. Derek Parrish was their best defensive player, bar none. Anybody who watched that Week 2 loss to Texas Tech knows how valuable he is. He had 11 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 6.5 tackles for loss in that one game, which is still one of the craziest stat lines I've ever seen in college football. So a huge loss for them. They've been really bad on third down.
Yeah.
And so to lose your best pass rusher and a guy who's so good against the run and the pass can only hurt them even more going into the AAC play. The game on Friday night against Tulane is super important for this Houston program.
What surprises me, or what kind of makes these injuries even more intriguing, is they're with it didn't happen to Tech or TCU, right? Tech programs that are kind of on the upswing, right? There are programs that are either on the downswing or like at a hinge point of their season, right? And so now it happens to be on the sides of the ball that we're confused or kind of have most questions about, right? A&M's offense and Houston's defense. And it's almost like this is going to be kind of, I mean, we mentioned Jimbo Fisher's coaching job, right? His program building ability. We're kind of having to see that even more now because he take away one of his second best weapon on offense. And then for Doug Belk, somebody who we still think is one of the best young coordinators in the game, now you take away his best player and it's like, okay, well, get this defense playing right. Now you're going to the most pivotal part of the season without your best player. So I just find it interesting that, like, which teams it happened to and which sides of the ball it happened to, right? It wasn't like A&M losing a safety out of their top elite secondary, and it wasn't like Houston losing a running back or something out of a pretty okay backfield. It's just, I don't know. I just found that pretty interesting too.
It's like in baseball when you don't want the ball hit to you, it's being hit to you.
Right, exactly, yes.
That's exactly how this feels like.
Yep, in Little League where you're over there in left field and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, no,
Please no,
no.
please no.
Yeah, please no. So...